we are going to talk all things magnesium and middle age for the menopausal woman.
Yeah, it's one of my most passionate topics, and I'm excited to dive into it today, so thanks for having me.
It's really like, what is it? I've heard two different stats, like 300 to 600 different enzymatic reactions in our body are dependent on magnesium. And so it's a big player. In particular, are middle-aged women in need of magnesium or maybe more susceptible to magnesium deficiency?
Yeah, great question. Content of our food. The second element is your individual genetics and basically how you methylate, absorb, utilize your minerals. Then there is your gut microbiome of elements. Third thing is there are environmental and stress factors. So things like anything that stresses the nervous system, high stress work environments, anything that ups your cortisol, caffeine to intake, any stimulants. Then fourth, when a person's going through change of life, there is, particularly with shifts in your hormones are accelerants in the body. The fifth element is you have massive exposure to electromagnetic frequencies or electromagnetic pollution, it's often called. And there's a good indication that the more that you're exposed to those type of environments, the increased depletion of key minerals such as magnesium. It's just infused into everything. The problem is that calcium exists in a 2-to-1 ratio to magnesium. And when your magnesium levels fall off, you start dumping calcium. And guess where that shows up? You start seeing bone degeneration. But if the person doesn't understand that ratio, the increased calcium means you're going to accelerate the dumping because you don't have enough magnesium to balance it out. To collaborate with what you're saying or corroborate what you're saying. So the bottom line is the likelihood that people are suffering from a magnesium deficiency, very high, even if they're taking a single form of magnesium or they have a great diet or whatever, and then finding the optimal amount for them can very much make a big difference in allowing them to experience their best life.
And I mean, that's just baseline. And I think of health like a house, right? And the foundation, before you even lay the cement, that's that ground underneath, that's the magnesium. Like you have to have magnesium supplementation on board because like you said, our soils are so depleted. I think of the Krebs cycle, which for the nerds out there, they know what I'm talking about. Like for our mitochondria to make our ATP, which is our cellular energy, which is literally what keeps us alive and going. The Krebs cycle is dependent on magnesium so many times along the way. I will not put estrogen into a woman who is not pooping at least once a day, if not multiple times a day. We usually can fix that pretty easily with some magnesium repletion. At the end of the day, you cannot do HRT. I firmly believe, I will die on this hill, you cannot apply HRT to a human being without an integrative approach. You have to have a fully integrative approach. And that base level before you lay that foundation is minerals and mineral status. It's non-negotiable.
Okay, why is the hormones depleting in the first place? Like, why do we drop off of that in the first place? There's not enough resources to keep running at the same pace. That's why keeping the resources high, then you can balance out your hormones and keep going at the rate that you want and really extending the quality and functionality of your life over time. Almost all of them deplete magnesium.
You extrapolate on that.
Some people actually get violently ill. And I know people like this, that really their tolerance for EMFs is very low. And there's other people that are pretty high tolerance, and then everybody else is in between. What the evidence is suggesting, though, is when you're exposed to high levels of EMF, there is shifts in how the cells of your body move fluids through it. The frequencies can sometimes disrupt what's called aquaporins. Aquaporins are these little elements that everything flows through to get inside the cell or to get out of the cell. And when you're subjected to electromagnetic frequencies, some people that shuts the cell down. So nutrients don't get in and waste products don't get out. Magnesium is one of the, I always call it the miracle mineral, is one of the, if you think about it as an easy term, it's the relaxation molecule. Yes. In other words, if I contract my biceps, my triceps has to relax. The antagonist muscle retracts, and that's directly correlated to magnesium. If I'm cramping or I'm depleted of magnesium, the magnesium levels were so depleted, that muscle would crack, it couldn't relax. And then you get a contraction. Same thing as vasoconstriction. When you talked about the blood flow, magnesium is a vasodilator. It opens up the blood flow, and oftentimes migraines are at that contraction. So that your sleep and your ability to get deep sleep is going to determine also how recovered and refreshed and how functional your whole system is. Making sure, and a lot of people will take magnesium before they go to bed. And most people, if they're using a sleep tracker, will see major improvements in their deep sleep time. And that is the key element for refreshment and regeneration of the body's tissues. 95% of that is made in your digestive tract. And one of the key elements to produce those neurotransmitters is, guess what? Magnesium.
You have to strength train if you want any semblance of a decent life after 40. Stressor on the body. So like we're burning through our minerals more readily when we are strength training. We are burning through our minerals more readily when we're sweating. Mm-hmm. And when you start calorically restricting, and I'm not a huge fan of the doses that crash out your appetite, but a lot of people are on them, and I get it for weight loss or whatnot, but you start to really inhibit, good nutrient dense intake. And now you're pushing yourself into malnourishment. Give HRT to someone who's not pooping every day. It's non-negotiable. No estrogen is going into that body unless bowels are moving every single day. And if they're not strength training, I'm not giving them a GLP-1, period. If they're, I've worked with this company for years, and they always give my audience a really awesome deal. So head to BIOptimizers.com/Dr. Tyna. So make sure to check that out. And thank you, Wade, so much for coming on the show today.